welcome to the first annual Game Awards show. I'm your host, Damien, with my co-host, Jared.
Hello.
And you're listening to the Conversation Colons podcast. Woohoo, yay! So let's get right into it. The first award is for Best Sound Design, and the nominees are Call of Duty Modern Warfare, The Outer Worlds, Metro Exodus, Gears 5, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And your winner is Metro Exodus! And there's your winner, Metro Exodus. So, Jared, what do you like sound-wise from the game? Is it the ricocheting of the bullets? Is it just like reloading the gun? Is it the shooting of the guns? What's your favorite sound aspect of this game?
A lot of the stuff from that game, in terms of sound, has improved from the first two games. A few of those things being, like you said, the guns, but also like the environmental, like the ambiance, if you will.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff like that. It feels better, especially since you're in different areas. You're not in the metro anymore.
Yeah.
You're not underground for like a part of this game. It's nice to hear like the different areas. So it is impressive to see what they've done, especially since the first two games were almost copy and paste in terms of environment.
Yep. I do like the monster sound designs.
Oh yeah, that's
at the beginning, I believe it's the beginning of the game where you're inside the metro and those beasts chase you out. The sound design in that aspect was so great because what I love about this game is when you are being chased by something, like the sound presents it so real and like they're right behind you that you are freaking the fuck out.
Oh, absolutely.
And so that beginning whole tutorial kind of first mission where they're chasing you through the metro, that's such a good mission. And then like when he uses his lighter and stuff and he's burning like spider webs and stuff. And
I love that sound.
And even just the gun sound, oh my god, the AK-47 in that game, to die for. So yeah, there's our first award. Jared, would you like to go ahead and take it to the next one?
All right. So for our next topic or grouping, we've got Multiplayer of the Year. And your nominees are Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, Borderlands 3, Apex Legends, and finally, Gears 5. And our winner for Multiplayer of the Year is Destiny 2 Shadowkeep.
Will someone please bring this Guardian his crown?
And there it is, Destiny 2 Shadowkeep. Now, Damien, I have to ask, what part of this multiplayer do you think made it such a good game?
I think
good multiplayer.
I think if Shadowkeep didn't have a raid, it wouldn't have won. But I think when you talk about Multiplayer of the Year, like especially for me and you, it's just what I enjoyed the most with
in terms of like grinding and multiplayer.
Yeah, and just with as many people as possible. Because I think Borderlands 3 probably be runner up. We put Call of Duty runner up. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'd probably put Borderlands 3 as the runner-up.
Borderlands 3 is definitely runner-up.
But Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, the raid experience is great. The dungeon experience is great. I do like the multiplayer. I mean, we played a lot to get the Recluse, and I enjoyed what I played.
And just
even
though you got it before me and I had to keep playing without you.
And overall, just the grind of Destiny 2 multiplayer-wise and just all the fun. And even when you go into like the moon, there's people everywhere and it feels like this living, breathing world. I really enjoy that. What about you, man?
No, you pretty much hit it right in the head. I agree with all those. The only thing is it's funny how like Destiny 2 is like it feels like a living, breathing game like they've always wanted it to feel, but then you go like 3 weeks into the DLC being out and then there's nobody there because everyone already fucking gave up on the game.
Yep.
Which I mean, for us, in my opinion, this DLC lasted longer than it did than the Rise of Iron did.
Oh, for sure. Rise of Iron was dead like a week later.
Oh yeah, I played this at least 6 weeks because there was points where I was like, all right, I'm done with this, and I go and do something else. Like I would watch YouTube or something, and I'd go back to it because I didn't want to stop playing. But then it got to the point where we weren't playing together as much. We weren't like doing stuff as a group, and that's when it's hard for me to play. Like I have a hard time playing a multiplayer by myself unless there is a straightforward objective, which I would like to say. If Red Dead 2 came out this year, that would have been my choice for multiplayer of the year if we had gotten into the multiplayer when it came out. But like it's been out for a while. We didn't play the multiplayer. Like that's the only game I can think of where I play by myself. Destiny 2 Shadowkeep isn't like that. We ended up not playing it as long, but like it lasted long enough that I think that it was just better than anything else really we've had this year multiplayer wise. Borderlands 3, like you said, runner up. Call of Duty's fucking garbage. So no one would ever put that in a winner in anything.
I think Call of Duty's third.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to
Call
say.
of Duty's a little rough right now. I think the map design's pretty bad, but we'll save that for another time. So our next award is Best Ongoing Game. And your nominees are Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, Red Dead Redemption 2 Online, The Division 2, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, and Rocket League. And your winner for Best Ongoing Game is Destiny 2 Shadowkeep.
Haven't seen darkness. Not yet.
All right, Jared, so Shadowkeep, we basically already touched on it, but we have to respect Bungie and what they're doing. They released back-to-back great DLCs with Forsaken and now with Shadowkeep. Out of those two, which one do you prefer more?
Forsaken or Shadowkeep?
Yeah.
I would say Forsaken.
Okay.
That's hard. I don't know. I say Forsaken in terms of story, but I would say Shadowkeep in terms of content.
Okay.
Because I loved Forsaken's story, but Shadowkeep there was so much, it felt like there was more to do, and it felt like we had more fun doing it. Like, especially our fire team, you, me, Carp, like we did a lot. And I know sometimes we did some stuff separately, but the raid was great. Like I never even touched the Forsaken raid. I actually did the raid for Shadowkeep, and it was great. And in terms of ongoing games, I include Destiny 1 with Destiny 2 as ongoing because it's the same game. They just had to split into a separate thing. Like, it's the same thing. It's fantastic. I mean, Destiny, they really turned it around. Forsaken was a really good way to pull people back in, and Shadowkeep was a good way to keep them on that path, that direction. And as we put, our runner-up would have been Rocket League, which is very much deserving. But the more I look at it, every single one of our best nominees for ongoing game, Destiny 2, Red Dead Redemption, Rainbow Six, Rocket League.
You skipped over Division 2?
Oh yeah, those four, very, very hard to pick from. Division 2, fucking garbage. Like, I'm sorry, it was a good game. I got into it. The first Division I played, loved it. Second Division, I couldn't stay in it. I don't know what it is.
I think
Destiny
Rainbow Six Siege is really good. I think the three-way. I think it was hard to decide between Destiny 2 and Siege and Rocket League because when we were doing this list, we really weren't playing that much RDR online.
No, that's fair.
But Siege, just the amount of characters and content they're still pumping into that game, and then we're getting the zombie mode that's going to be a standalone game next year. And then Rocket League, man, they just keep adding more maps, more cars, more everything. So shout out to all of those games. They all deserve to be on the list, but congratulations to Destiny 2.
Yeah.
All right, Jared, you want to take us into the next award? This is a big one.
Yes. So now we've got, oh Lord, why me? We've got worst game of the year. All right. So our nominees for worst game of the year, by the way, a few more than the last few things we had. Our nominees are Anthem, Crackdown 3, WWE 2K20, Jump Force, NBA 2K20, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and Death Stranding. Our winner, well, I should say our loser for worst game of the year is Death Stranding. And that's us for Death Stranding. Damien, why don't you give us a little bit of input on why you think Death Stranding is an absolute piece of shit game?
So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the people who are defending this game, who are saying it's making its own genre. Fuck you. You don't get to determine the genre.
Yeah.
I think this game fails in so many aspects because, one, it was overhyped to shit. Everyone's like,
absolutely.
Kojima, the Lord and Savior. Okay, Metal Gear Solid 5, overhyped. It was a trash game. Death Stranding, so in the reviews, and what everyone says is once you get past the first 10 hours, then the game turns decent. That's a bad sign.
Oh, absolutely. Like, if it's like, oh, the first 30 minutes, then it's a better game. Okay.
Yeah.
First 10 hours? No, fuck yourself. I'm not playing 10 hours of a game just to eventually maybe see a turnaround. Fuck that.
And, you know, I think with a lot of these other games, let's say Anthem has a stronger core gameplay than Death Stranding. Death Stranding, your gameplay is you are walking around delivering these boxes. Now, what I will say is it looks like the world looks interesting. It is an interesting aspect, an interesting idea. It's just not performed the way it should have been. And there's blatant ads, like there's the Monster Energy ads. When you take a shower in the game, ads for Norman Reedus' shows pop up. That's kind of annoying. That's pushing bad ideas into video game development because now people are accepting this idea. So people like EA and Ubisoft are going to go, wait, you're okay with us putting ads in the games? Let's just fucking do it. NBA 2K20 has already been doing this. They got a huge backlash, but Death Stranding's not getting backlash for that. It needs to. You can't have ads in game while I'm playing. That's annoying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Towards the end,
let me
go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
Okay.
Continue.
Towards the end of the game, if you've played Death Stranding, you know it. When you get to the snow area, the gameplay is literally garbage. Garbo. And the story is kind of average, mediocre. It's the most disappointing game of the year, and obviously it is the worst game of the year for us. But what were you going to say, Jared?
So let me put it to you this way. All right. Anthem, for me, in terms of worst game of the year, was very, very close to Death Stranding.
For sure.
But let me say this about both of these games. I saw a trailer for Anthem and thought, I want to play that. All right. I then went and played Anthem. All right. I played it for a while. You know, Damien and I obviously were both into it. And then it kind of went away. And in the past, like, I don't know, a couple months since I've touched it, I'm like, you know, I wouldn't mind going back to see that game. But I know I'm just going to be reminded how bad it is. All right. Let's switch over to Death Stranding. I saw a trailer for Death Stranding, and I thought, this looks fucking stupid. I don't want to play this game. However, I then, since I'm not going to buy a PS4, that's all it came out on for was PS4, right? Or did it come PC? I don't remember.
It's coming to PC.
Okay, yeah. So I wasn't buying a PS4 to play this fucking game. So I watched a playthrough of it, or I started watching. I got about an hour, I think an hour and a half, 2 hours in of this guy's playthrough. I don't know what YouTuber it was. And I thought the whole time, like, this looks horrible. I don't like this. And then, you know, it's been like about a week maybe since I started watching that. And I have not once thought I want to go finish that video. I want to erase it off of my history of watching videos. So that's comparing the number one and number two worst game of the year for me. That's how bad Death Stranding is. Like, nothing about it. The only thing I thought, oh, hey, the dude from Walking Dead's in it, and the one trailer I saw like years ago, that looks pretty cool. After that, I don't give a fuck about that game. I really, really wish it wasn't made because I'm sick of hearing people talk about how good it is.
Yeah, and I think what separates Death Stranding from all the other games in this is all the other games have a core gameplay that's still interesting and has different dynamics to it. Anthem, you have shooting, flying. Crackdown 3, you have destruction, you have shooting, you have all that shit. WWE, that one is only on the list because of all the bad glitches off rip, But from what I hear, like the gameplay is not bad if you get past glitches. Jump Force is on here just because of how big of a disappointment it was, and it was buggy at the beginning. 2K20 is just garbage, but still the core game of 2K20 is like all the other basketball games. So there's some good there that people enjoy. Ghost
I
Recon,
literally constantly hear people talk about, oh my god, I can't wait to go home and play 2K, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can we just finish our job and go home? Like,
yeah, and then Ghost Recon Breakpoint, it's Wildlands, but in the style of Destiny with a looter shooter. They didn't do
and
it
it's
well.
like more realistic with healing and shit, isn't it?
They just didn't do a good enough job with it. Death Stranding, you are walking around, you can shoot later in the game, but they don't want you to. And the story is mediocre. So I think it deserved to win.
Yep.
So taking us into our next award, it is most anticipated. So your nominees are Cyberpunk 2077, Halo Infinite, The Last of Us Part 2, Minecraft Dungeons, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and finally Dying Light 2. And your winner is Halo Infinite. All right, so before we talk about Halo Infinite, let's save that for last. Dying Light 2 is on the list because of the first the first game and then the following DLC. The following DLC is one of the best DLCs of all time, and it was so good. Microsoft Flight Simulator, have you looked at the fucking game? It looks insane. Minecraft Dungeons, which I know Jared's going to want to talk about real quick. It's Diablo, but in Minecraft. What else could you want? And it looks amazing. Last of Us Part 2, obviously Last of Us 1 was a really solid game, so it was interesting to see where they're going to go with this one. I don't think it looks as good from what we see, but, we'll see.
All right, I got a quick question, because I don't keep up with Last of Us in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Wasn't that game pushed back release-wise like 3 times?
So apparently it's supposed to come out this year, and then they pushed it back to early next year, sorry.
Because I heard it was supposed to come out this fall, and then I heard it was supposed to come out this spring, and isn't the official thing is like late summer next year now?
It's early spring next year.
Is it early spring? Okay.
Yeah,
I thought it changed again.
I think it releases like a month before Cyberpunk.
Oh, okay.
And speaking of Cyberpunk, obviously Cyberpunk was on the list because the company who made Witcher 3 is making this game. We're all excited for it. What I think separates Halo Infinite for me, and I was talking to Jared and I wanted Cyberpunk to win, but now that I thought about it, I do think Halo Infinite deserves to be most anticipated for me, especially because I am more interested to see where Halo goes and how well they make the game than how Cyberpunk's turning out. Because I have confidence in Cyberpunk, okay? The problem with Halo Infinite is the people who made Halo 5 are still making this game, okay? Now, Halo 5, let me put this on the record, it is not a bad game. It's just a bad Halo game. The multiplayer, the multiplayer is fantastic.
Oh,
so
I love
the multiplayer. I think is fine. Halo 4's campaign was good, but their multiplayer was trash. Now their
multiplayer was a step. It was a crucial step in the moving towards Halo 5's multiplayer.
Yeah. So now
it was on its way, but it wasn't good enough.
So now they just need to bring them both together and create two great things.
Fantastic, yes.
And obviously, I think the thing that interests me the most is it's on a whole new engine. So new graphics, just the game's probably going to feel and run
Slipspace
smoother.
engine, which I love the name of.
Yeah, it's just going to feel smoother. So that's a huge deal. Huge deal. So as I think about it, I think I'm more interested to see where Halo's going in the future and what this game is going to do for Master Chief, and how they're going to kind of cap off their trilogy that they started. So yeah, Halo Infinite's the winner for most anticipated. You got anything to say about Halo, Jared?
What I have to say is I think Halo has a really good chance of doing well. However, in the same boat as what Damien has said. There is a chance that it's going to turn out being not great because of what its predecessors were. Now, personally, my faith in 343 could not be higher. Now, Halo 4, I liked pretty much all around, except for a few flaws I think they definitely needed to work on. Halo 5, the story mode, I don't think the story mode was awful, but I know a lot of people hated it. I liked seeing some of the development we had, but I know that it could have been so much better. Halo 5 multiplayer, fantastic. Loved it. I wholeheartedly believe that 343 is going to do good here because I think they realize that if they don't do good, this is it for Halo. And if this is it for Halo, Microsoft is fucked. And if Microsoft is fucked, 343 wouldn't have a fucking chance doing anything after this. So, in this Halo is going to be, at the very least, it's going to be great. Because if it isn't, then that's fucking it. Like, that's it for Halo. That's it for 343. I mean, I don't want to say that's it for Microsoft because it obviously isn't, but it's going to hurt Microsoft more than I think most people would be willing to admit.
And the trailers have been top notch. Like,
oh my god! And just the trailers alone have made me like get a physical fucking erection.
Yep.
Like I say that as a joke a lot, but like a little bit of a stiffy poking up when I saw that trailer. The first one they released, I think, was that last year at this point, or was that early this year?
That was last year when they showed the one with the slip space engine.
Yeah, the first ever. When I first saw that, I remember I was sitting at work, and I got a text, and I was like, "What? No." So I like said, "Hey, I need to take my break," and they're like, "Oh, well, you can't do that." And I'm like, "All right, well, I need to go to the bathroom then." And I went to the bathroom and watched it because I needed to see that shit. Because Halo's my jam.
Yep.
So that being said, I feel like Halo has a really good chance of winning. I think Cyberpunk 2077. Fuck, I don't even remember anymore. I'm always thinking like 3077.
It's 2077, yeah.
I know. I think that game it's highly anticipated by a lot of people, but I think there's so many people who are like not demanding, but like are like it's gonna be good. Like I have zero doubt that there's gonna be anything bad in this game. It's gonna be perfection because it's CD Projekt Red. I don't disagree. I think that game will be good, but I don't like the people who are like, hey, there's no doubt in my mind it's gonna be perfect. Like you have to have some doubt. Like Halo Infinite, I am like hoping 100,000% that it's going to be the best game I've ever seen, but I know that there's a potential that it's going to suck. I hope it doesn't, but I know there is. But seeing people be like, nope, there will be nothing wrong with Cyberpunk. I'm like, you have to have doubt. You can't, like, this is like how you were putting it when we had the discussion forever ago about Rockstar. Like people have to tell a game company that they're doing something wrong, or they'll never be better. Like, and when you talked about pay to play forever ago, I don't even know how many episodes ago it was. Like, that's how people have to give a company like, hey, like, I know that you're good, but you have to make sure you're good.
Well, yeah,
I don't even know how to put
that's what happened with Bethesda. Because everyone was like, Bethesda won't do anything to us. And Bethesda thought, okay, well, we can put out this game, Fallout 76 we're talking about, screw over our fans, and they're all not going to know it because they already bought the game.
Yep, I fucking love Fallout 76. It's such a that wasn't this year, but my god, that's
worth it. That's Stranding.
Oh, absolutely. That could. I mean, yeah, I know it is. It's just very close. Fallout 76 could be worst game of the year for like a couple years. Like if they.
Oh, for sure.
Well, we could even. Oh, we should have. I didn't even think of this. That fucking Fallout First Pass thing for that game.
Yeah.
We could have fucking included that.
Yeah,
that could have.
We could have done worst ongoing game than Fallout 76.
Worst ongoing game.
Fallout 76 right there,
right in the number one. That it just and our nominees are it's Fallout 76.
Yeah,
there's no fucking nominees.
Yeah,
so to try to wind this bit of our session down, like I think that CD Projekt Red. I hate trying to say that fast. They are going to do a good job. I don't have a doubt in my mind that they're going to do a good job, but there's no way that every single aspect of that game will be perfect. There might be a minor launch issue. There might be some things that are like, oh, we promised this, and then like we don't get all of it. Like they're going to do good. It's CD. Oh my God. It's Red. And they're going to do good, but like we can't just, can't be like they're perfect because no one's perfect.
I think
everyone
with them,
Rockstar Bethesda that.
It's so like, I think with Cyberpunk, like CD Projekt Red has become the new Rockstar in many ways. When a Rockstar game's announced, at at the very least, it's gonna be a good to great game. When Red Dead was announced,
absolutely.
we thought this game's gonna be good or great. It was fucking fantastic.
And it turned out I was expecting so much from Red Dead 2 when it came out, and it blew past the expectations I had, which were very high. That says something about a game. Now, yeah, we know Rockstar's like they're kind of assholes on a lot of terms, but they fucking blew me away with Red Dead. They really did.
And I think what helps Rockstar is they have the background of all these fantastic games. And I think CD Projekt Red, I mean, obviously they don't have as strong as a background, but you have Saints Row 2, The Witcher, Witcher 2, and Witcher 3. So the Witcher trilogy is fantastic. Like that, that is as good of a trilogy as you can get. And I think what people need to realize is Witcher 3 is my favorite game of all time. That game has flaws.
Witcher 3 is like my top 3.
Yeah, like that game has flaws. No game's perfect. There's a whole hour of that game that I fucking hate.
Well, there's also literally there's whole like subreddits and YouTube videos of the horse being or roach being stuck on fucking rooftops.
Yeah, that's funny. Though.
And
while
we're on, oh yeah, no, that is pretty funny. But like while we're on the topic, like talking about CD Projekt Red and Witcher 3, like we both just bought Witcher 3 for PC on PC because it was on sale. Like obviously we weren't gonna play full price because we're not fucking made of money, but it was on sale and we immediately jumped on that deal because it's Witcher 3. We needed to have that and see it in amazing specs on PC.
Even if I don't beat the game, I just want it.
Yeah,
just
to
at
least play a little bit. I mean, I need to see Triss boobies, so I mean,
facts.
One way to do it.
We stan a queen, and she is our queen.
I mean, Yen is also like amazing, but
oh, for sure.
God, I mean, any boobs in that game is good. So, okay, we need to move on. We're spending a little too much time on this
speaking
section.
of good-looking things,
no,
Jared.
Lord. Oh, hey, yeah, I just read it. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Best-looking games are up next. Now, our nominees for best-looking game is Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Borderlands 3, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Gears 5, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And our winner for best looking game is Gears 5. And that there is Gears 5 for us. Damien, go ahead and tell me why you think Gears 5 is a fantastic looking game.
I think first it starts with character design. I think all the characters look amazing. First off, Jack, the thick booty queen.
Fuck me.
But overall, I think the gore is a step up from Gears 4.
Yeah.
I like the areas. I think the ice area was especially beautiful, and all the crystallization that they were doing, like when we were inside the ice and stuff. And the snow, like the snow impacting your vision. Just overall, how the game looks when it comes to that is great. I really like the art design of Gears. I like the style of it, that more dirty, kind of grungy kind of style. And obviously the gun designs, I mean, the retro Lancer, the normal Lancer, those guns just look
the new Lancer grenade launcher.
Yep.
Very nice.
Part 3. And
also,
the cutscenes.
I would just like to say, as soon as you started talking about character design, I had a fucking Vietnam flashback to watching. By the way, spoilers in case you haven't played this game yet. When was it JD that we killed first, or was it Dell? It was Dell, right? Yeah. Seeing Dell's dead body and just going in horror, I just sat there silent. I had to mute myself. Vietnam flashback up the ass seeing Dell's dead body because that character design. Also, went through and watched JD dead. I remember his face more, I think, and the way Marcus reacted than I do Dell, because that was more emotional. But it hurt me more seeing Dell dead.
Yeah, Dell's the boy.
But yeah, that just you mentioned character design, and I literally like sat here like shaking in my seat, like thinking of my favorite characters dead.
Yep.
And I don't. Thinking about that, it terrifies me thinking what they're going to do next. But yes, Gears 5, beautiful game.
Mhm.
I mean, it was specifically, I can't remember the name of the chapter or the name of the guy. Was it Russia we were in, or was it with the red sand? Where the fuck?
Yeah, we were just in the desert.
In some random ass
yeah.
desert. I don't know. That was fucking beautiful. And like when the storm happened and the lightning would strike and create the crystal shit up in the fucking sky like pillars. Oh my god, I loved that.
Yeah,
it
the
was
sand blowing in front of your face and shit.
It was so good.
At the end of the game, spoiler alert again, when that giant monster's chasing you and it's going through the buildings and breaking everything, like it looks so good.
Mhm.
Shout out to Clayton. But to go through the rest of the games real quick, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, obviously the newest game out of the list. That game that also looks stunning.
It does.
World design, the lightsaber effect, like if you're in a dark area, you can pull your lightsaber out, and just the emittance of light is great. The character designs are also great, besides Cal, because he's a ginger. They don't have souls, so, you know.
Jesus.
Modern Warfare.
I will say, I didn't play Jedi Fallen Order, but I did watch a full playthrough, and I watched a few different ones to make sure I wasn't crazy. But the game, of course, anything with EA tagged to it at all, much like Ubisoft, the game looked much better in the trailers I saw than any of the gameplay I saw anywhere.
I mean, yeah, there's a good downscaling.
But
I think the cutscenes stayed the same.
Oh yeah, cutscenes definitely seemed like they were the same, but like that's what I mean. Like the teaser trailers with the cutscenes and everything, it looked beautiful. And then I saw some gameplay, and I'm like, ooh, this is a little rough, but like it still looks good.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
you can tell it changed.
If you want to go watch the whole series, it's on my channel. I have a whole playlist for it. There you go. It's already completed. Resident Evil 2 remake. When I played that game, shut up, Jared. Men are speaking right now. You should play the Resident Evil 2 remake,
I'm not
Jared.
talking though.
Jared, you should play that game. It is really good.
If it costs me $0 to play it, I'll play it.
You're disgusting.
I'm sorry. I'm not.
That game, obviously, just the zombies look incredible. Mr. X, X gonna give it to you. He looks terrifying as ever. Borderlands 3, the comic book style is still interesting to me. And then Modern Warfare, obviously the most realistic out of the bunch. And I do think it helps it out in that case. And the campaign cutscenes and stuff was beautiful.
Yeah, I saw a few without any spoilers because I haven't played it yet, and I do want to actually play the campaign without being spoiled. I know I'm a psychopath. A couple of the campaign like cutscenes I saw like looked really nice.
Yep, and that still gets me. Oh,
no, I don't say anything.
Yep.
But going back, like just really quick, I want to backtrack to Borderlands 3. I know that a lot of people are really controversial about the comic type style that they do with that game, and I get it. Like it's not normal, but I feel like that's not normal is also considered unique in this scenario because it's very unique. It looks good. Obviously it didn't win for a good reason, but it was a huge upgrade from Borderlands 2's look. Like it was the same thing, but they fine-tuned it so much. I was so impressed because I thought that this art style they had for Borderlands looked good in Borderlands 2, but they made it better. And I know they pushed back some releasing, or early on they were like, oh, we thought maybe this time, but we're going to push it back and not even get an official date yet. Like a lot of that really early on. And I'm glad they did because they were obviously spending the time to fine tune those graphics. Yeah. They looked amazing. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Alrighty, so our next award is Developer of the Year. This is the biggest award for, I guess, just the developer besides Game of the Year, but the nominees are Bungie, Obsidian Studios, Respawn Entertainment, The Coalition, and Infinity Ward. And your winner for Developer of the Year is Respawn Entertainment.
It's the choice to keep fighting that makes us who we are.
Kodai Squad wins again.
Their deaths still carry honor.
Poor bastards.
Check out the loot they left Gibraltar.
Respawn killed it this year. Earlier in the year, in February, they released Apex Legends, which exploded onto the scene and is still one of the best BR mode or BR games you can play. It's still heavily supported, and it has overtaken PUBG's spot in the sense of, I guess, the hierarchy. Like Fortnite's still number one for BRs, but then I think you go Apex.
Wish Battlefield 5's at BR was still big.
Yeah, it's dead right now, but
I know
they got to add a new map to that shit. And obviously they just released, to me, a top 5 Star Wars game of all time with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. You have game design just fucking incredible. The combat, it's such a cliche thing to say because it's nothing like Dark Souls, but it's so much like Dark Souls. Just the dodging, having the block. If you block at the right time, you can parry and then get a one-hit kill. Like, that is so interesting to me. And the world building that it does. The only negative to that game is spiders. But yeah, Respawn just absolutely killed it this year. To talk about the other developers on this, obviously Bungie's on there because they released a fantastic DLC for their game, and they've continued to do that. Obsidian Studios made the best Fallout game we've had since Fallout New Vegas. The Coalition for Gears 5, that took Gears to the atmosphere. Like, Gears 5 is such a good game. Like, I was so shocked that it was so good. And then, obviously, Infinity Ward, they are pushing Call of Duty towards the right direction. Not
the right direction, but towards it.
Yes, I think a lot of things they're doing in multiplayer are strange, and they need to fix their shit.
Facts.
But Treyarch is coming around, and I always have faith in Treyarch. Black Ops 3, Black Ops 2. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Respawn Entertainment, congratulations. You made 2 of the most enjoyable games of the year. So yeah, I guess this next award, Jared, me and you both can present.
All right. So what we have here is the Comeback Award.
Yes, this is for a developer who was kind of on the low. And we have 2 winners. They were kind of on the low, and they shot back up to the top of their class, I guess. So Jared, would you like to announce the first one?
Yes. So the first one, by the way, these are both winners. It's not like who lost, who won. They're both winners. The first one was Bungie.
Yes. We've talked a lot about Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, so we'll kind of keep it short there. But phenomenal DLC, and Destiny 2 is a phenomenal game. You should play it. It is free to play now. The second one, obviously, it is Infinity Ward. We just talked about them. They are pushing Call of Duty in the right direction. And Infinity Ward has made 2 of the worst CODs in Call of Duty Ghosts and Infinite Warfare. I know Jared will defend the campaign, but when we're talking about multiplayer's overall games, Infinite Warfare is looked down. Like, it is looked very down upon, and I believe it's still the most disliked video on YouTube. So, congratulations to both those companies. But moving on to our next big award.
Wait. Most disliked video right now is probably the Rewind of last year.
Oh yeah, that's it. So Call of Duty number 2 then.
Yeah,
because it got 3 million
also,
dislikes.
I find it like really ironic that I agree with you, but I find it ironic. Like, Infinity Ward has done a lot, but like they also like got separated from Destiny and like the whole Bungie like splitting from Destiny thing. I think it's really funny. Like, Bungie did better because of Destiny, but Infinity Ward like did better because of different stuff, even though they kind of did worse on Bungie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
So, anywho.
Yep. Our next award. Jared, would you like to go ahead?
Yes, I will. All right. So the next award for the 2019 we have is Best Story. So our nominees for Best Story are Borderlands 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, The Outer Worlds, Gears 5, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I'm sorry I said Star Wars weird. I just read it. I looked at the word as I said it. Anyway, our winner for Best Story is Gears 5.
come here with me? What did JD tell you?
This is a wild game of survival.
And that there is Gears 5. So Damien, you tell me why Gears 5 had the best story this year.
I think first off, right off rip, the story got me. I was immediately hooked.
Fucking fast.
And I do think they developed the characters very nicely. Dell became better in the kind of comedic role, in a sense. Gears 4, he was kind of plain, but obviously he was still likable. In this game, they just fleshed out his personality, and they let him really shine. Kate, I do think she kind of stays on the same path of Gears 4. She obviously does get a lot of development overall story-wise. And then we have JD, who has this weird complex of he's trying to be his father and always be the hero, but then he has to learn he can't always do that. Marcus, obviously, for what he's in, he's great. It's Marcus Phoenix. Like, come on. Coltrane's in it. Clayton's back, so obviously he gets a bump for that. But
I like how Baird has like a big role again.
Yep. I just think overall the story is so interesting. And when we're talking about the overarching story, I love how it's tying back to Gears 3 and how big of a deal Gears 3 was with the Queen dying, but her legacy still living on with Kate. And I think some of the interesting gameplay mechanics they had, like there's a point, spoiler alert again, where I was playing as Kate, Jared was Dell, and Kate freaked out, and I started controlling all the enemy AI. Like, I was hopping from character to character.
She didn't freak out. She got taken, remember?
Oh, yeah. Then she started controlling things.
Yeah.
So I was controlling
She freaked out in another part where I needed your help and you weren't helping.
Yeah. And so I was shooting Jared, and then he would kill my character, and I switched to, like, I think the final one was a warden, the thing with the two clubs. And that was so interesting to me. And just overall, the areas that they take you, I think the snow area being the best.
Oh, I love that area.
Was so great. And obviously we touched on it earlier, but the passing of Dell will always be ingrained in my mind. I will never forget. So I was the one who had to make the decision. And I was freaking the fuck out. And I kind of just moved my right stick back and forth, and I hit A, and it landed on Dell. And Jared didn't talk for the next like 10 minutes. If you want to go watch that moment, it's linked. Well, I won't have it linked because I'm too lazy. But it's on my channel in the Gears playlist. It should be the final episode, so it'll be there if you want to see Jared's reaction. But yeah, so that whole ending was phenomenal, and obviously it's left on a cliffhanger that feels rewarded. Like, it feels like, okay, it's okay to do this cliffhanger. And I'm ready for Gear 6. I remember when that game ended, me and Jared both said, I want Gear 6 now. And that's how you know a game's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are your...
By the way, the reason I was so pissed off, like the reason I didn't talk, there were tears, like actual tears, because Dell, I fucking love Dell. Like in Gears, I shouldn't say the first, but in Gears 4, I was like very on the, like, I didn't really know. I liked playing as JD. I thought that Dell had really good like banter and comments he made, but they upped it in 5. Like, he was so much funnier and so much more like quirky, and the charisma he had, it was just great. And of course, since Damien was host, I was playing as Dell. And even if I ended up hosting, I switched off of Kate like fucking immediately because I needed to be Dell because I fucking loved him. And it was so good. I loved Dell. And then when I saw Dell just struggle, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna cut loose, and his fucking neck snapped. I went, oh. And then I muted my mic and just sobbed. I was so mad. But I will say, to make it better, like when Dell died, when I was playing as JD trying to get out of there, and JD kept saying what I was feeling, and I'm like, we're gonna kill everything. Like, literally, there was a part where JD's fucking, like, you play as him, but he keeps screaming as you shoot, and he's like, die. And Kate's like, JD, relax. It's not gonna help if you get yourself killed. And I'm like, fuck you, bitch, I'll do what I want. And he's like, no, I have to. And she's like, stop. And he's like, yeah, you're right, it's not gonna help if I die. And I'm like, no, just do the anger, join the dark side. It was so intense. And that
game's so fucking good.
The whole story was so good. I really like how when what the hell was his name? Fog?
Foz.
Foz. There it is. It was a Foz when Dell dies, because Dell and Foz are like almost building up a relationship again, and like Dell's gone, and Foz is like, no, blah blah blah, witty comment about beating him, and he's looking around for Dell, and he's like smiling, goes, Dell? And there's just like that moment. I'm like, I hated this character the whole game, and now I am heartbroken that he can't see Dell.
I'm gonna tear eyes for talking about it.
I know. I hated how much it hit me harder than some of like the most emotional movies I've seen.
Yeah.
And it was really hard to go through, but that's why it was such a good story. Now, that being said, some of the other things we had listed here: Borderlands, Star Wars. Star Wars had a good story, but I told Damien, like, I watched a whole playthrough of it, and I don't really agree with it because we kind of knew the outcome. So it was a good story, but not good enough to be winner, in my opinion. Borderlands 3 was a great game, but its story wasn't good enough to qualify as being best story. Like, it just wasn't. It wasn't better than Borderlands 2's story, and I think that's like a huge argument I made in that.
Yeah.
But Gears 5, like, I'm gonna keep saying it. It was so good. Like, thinking back, I want to go play it again right now. And that the very few games get me going to say I need to play that game again. Like, it's just talking about it.
Yep.
Very few.
And I think real quick, before we move on, Gears 5, I think one of my favorite moments is when it's Kate and JD, and you go into the ice doctor's place, and she's hooked up, and she's seeing all this happen, and she comes out and she starts aiming her gun at Dell because she's freaking out, thinking that.
No, JD's not there. It was only her and Dell.
And I said she's freaking out at Dell because
you said when Kate and JD. I thought you.
Oh,
were
sorry, I
something.
meant Dell.
Yeah.
Because she thinks JD sent Dell to kill her, or to make sure, like, if she gets out of hand, to deal with it. And Dell's like, no, I'm here because I'm your friend.
Yeah.
And it was
like,
it was so touching. I fucking love that game. That game,
because
so
Dell was going regardless.
Yeah.
Because they're friends, but the fact that JD said something had the player doubting, like, oh shit, maybe he's lying to her. But like, true fans knew.
Yep.
True fans knew.
Yep.
And I will say really quick before we finish this, the ending of Gears 4 had me wanting to play Gears 5. I'm like, I don't care if it's bad. I need to know what happens. And I kept telling Damien, like, I don't care if this is not good. I need it. Like, I've been so excited. I need to know what happens, like all these things. And to have wanted Gears 5 for as long as I did, and to want, like, not even caring if it was good or bad, like a lot of people didn't like Gears 4, when it turned out, when I got it, and it turned out to be one of the best story modes or story games or stories I've ever seen in a game, the feeling was like, it was indescribable. It was so nice to get the answer to all the questions I had at end Gears 4, and then also like love it. But like Damien said, like as soon as we ended that, we're like, all right, so Gears 6's release date's when? Because we just need to know what the fuck was happening.
From now.
Yeah, too long.
All right.
Anyway,
so we have made it to the end. We have one award left. It is the award you've all been waiting for. It's the biggest award for the, I guess, big game awards that's happening in a few weeks. Obviously, we know Death Stranding is getting that. That's some bullshit. We're going to give you the actual winner. So me and Jared, this took a long time to decide, but your nominees for Game of the Year are Borderlands 3, The Outer Worlds, Gears 5, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and Resident Evil 2.
Nope.
And your winner for Game of the Year, drumroll please, is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Trust only in the Force.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Whoa. Stop the phone. Okay? This game just came out. What I played of this game was some of the best Star Wars content I've gotten in so long it hurts. This game is a top 5 to, even from what I've seen, a lot of people's favorite game. I think the difficulty that this game provides is enough to keep you want to keep playing and to replay the game. I sit here sometimes thinking I should go play that game on a harder difficulty because it is challenging even on normal mode. You're always engaged because if you make a mistake, you are dead. And I enjoy that. I think the Inquisitors and the sisters that they added were interesting. And I think the boss fights that they produced were interesting. And it really does reward you for taking your time and spending time in the game learning attack patterns. When I played the beginning of the game, I was getting hit all the time by just normal stormtroopers and shock troopers. And, once you get about halfway through, those hits start to go down. But when I enter the final area, man, I fucking crushed everyone. As soon as they come at me, they were dead instantly. And that's so rewarding to me. The story, obviously, Jared didn't care for as much, and I get why, because obviously we know at the end, what they were going for can't make that big of a difference because we know what happens later on in the Star Wars canon. But I think the story that they told in between there was really fantastic. I think the story of the Inquisitor is a really interesting one, even though it's been played out other ways. And I'll never forget playing as Cal through Order 66. That mission is so cool just to be able to experience that. And they played that mission really well because you come out as a kid and you're talking to these clones and they know you. They know your training and they're like supporting you and they're saying, well, I hope your training goes well. And then the next minute you're watching them be killed because they're trying to kill you. The lightsaber combat, it's so good. You can have one blade, you can have two blades, and then you can create a combo where you fucking pull your lightsaber apart and hit them with two, like it's the Force Unleashed. And it's so good. The Force powers, I think, do kind of take a step back, but that's fine. That's, I think, where they belong. Like the Force Unleashed, I feel like you'd walk up to somebody, you'd force pull them towards you, and then you hit them, and then you kept going. With this, like, those don't feel as strong. They're like, okay, even though you have the Force, you are still, like, able to die. Yeah. And I think the way they left this game off, I'm ready for the sequel. I want to play the sequel. And the final boss fight against, spoiler alert, Darth Vader, like, come on. That's fucking incredible.
That's not even really a boss fight. But...
I mean, but still. You do fight him for a quick second. The worlds are interesting. Besides Kashyyyk. Kashyyyk has been my favorite planet in every Star Wars game and in Star Wars lore. Besides now. Because of the gigantic spiders. Yeah, the gigantic spiders. But overall, this game is a masterclass of Star Wars lore. It pushes the series further, and it's obviously, like I said, it's the best content Disney has given us so far since they've owned Star Wars. And I gotta say, I have to give EA credit here. No microtransactions, no paid DLC. They released the game on time, and they said, here is this full $60 story that was worth it. So congratulations, EA. This is the best Star Wars game they've made. And Respawn, I have faith in everything you do from here on out. You've made two great Titanfall games. Titanfall 2 being stellar.
Oh, I just got that game again. I replayed for it.
Apex Legends. I mean, obviously it's a battle royale, but you did make a good entry into that market. And then a single-player Star Wars game when EA kept saying, nobody likes single-player games, and you proved them wrong. So congratulations, Respawn. You deserve this award. If you haven't played Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, well, Cyber Monday just happened. Black Friday just happened.
It's not a huge discount. It's 10%. It's still not a lot.
You should pick this up for Christmas if you're waiting. Even if you had the game spoiled for you because you just listened to us, the game's still worth playing.
So I need to say something.
Yeah.
I agree with Damien that it is a good game. Like it's not by any means a bad game. A lot of things in it, like I said, the only thing I don't like is the story because it's so like I know this is gonna happen. It hurt me in that area. Other than that, it's a very good game. But it was very hard to convince me that this was gonna be Game of the Year, just because of how much I loved Gears 5. But we had to take into account the aspect of like the multiplayer for Gears 5 and the horde mode and how like those weren't the strongest areas. Like it was just the story for Gears 5 that was really good. So after, like Damien said, we talked a lot. We had to come to a conclusion. It was not easy for me to say this was like the game of the year. But at the end of the day, I would say that it ended up deserving it. But Damien was more. I'm just trying to say, like, he was more like, yeah, this is it, and I was like, I need some convincing.
Yeah,
Just
and you know
so
what? If
understands.
you made it on this list, that is a huge deal by itself. So, round of applause for Borderlands 3, who created a great co-op experience for me and Jared, and just a looter shooter that is really at the top of its class. The Outer Worlds, which we talked about earlier, it is the best Fallout game since New Vegas. And they really took it to Bethesda and said, hey, look at this. We made, because, you know, Obsidian made the original Fallouts and stuff like that. So they took something they loved, and even though they can't use the name, they still made the best of it, basically. Gears 5, we talked about. If the multiplayer was a little better, and I think the Horde... actually, the Horde mode's fine. If the multiplayer was better and stronger, I think Gears 5 would have won for us. So Gears 5 is going to be the runner-up. And then Resident Evil 2, Capcom nailed it with this remake. Obviously, Jared doesn't care for it. But the look and the feeling of the game and just overall, just how the game plays, it still holds up to this day. It's such a good game. But that's our Game Awards show. So round of applause.
Hell yeah.
Round of applause for everyone who won. Besides Death Stranding,
I fucking hate Death
you
Stranding.
get kind of a boo. And
Boo.
remember, we are doing the same thing for movies. I think next week will be a normal show, and we'll announce the nominees towards the end of that show. And then I believe the week after that, we'll have the movie awards, depending on our schedules and how that happens.
Yeah, and mind you, it could very well end up being just Damien for the movie awards, just depending on what happens. Because all my schedule's so fucked this goddamn Christmas time.
Yep. So, guys, once again, thank you for listening / watching, and we really do appreciate you listening to us. We're coming up, Jared, on a year of us recording.
Yeah, I know, that's
coming
crazy.
up in a few months. So we really do appreciate you guys. Hopefully you had a good Thanksgiving, and I will see you on the next episode.
Bye, guys.
And that's another episode for us, guys. Thank you for listening. Please make sure to comment, subscribe, follow, like, whatever. If you're on SoundCloud, it's follow, like. If you're on Spotify, you just add to your playlist, like, follow, whatever. iTunes, please leave us a review. And on YouTube, please like, comment, and share, and then subscribe to my channel, eventually Jared's channel when that comes out.
And if you guys want to follow us on social media, our Twitter handles will be linked in the description.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening.